is Kardec Radio for Teens. This is a place where teens can talk and learn from other teens and learn with each other. I hope you all had a happy Mother's Day this weekend. And on Mother's Day, one thing that we do is that we think of how grateful we are for our mothers or for that significant mother-like figure in our lives. So with this, I want to bring up the gratitude challenge. If you guys have heard of it already or haven't, try and write down for 50 days or more if you can, something that you're grateful for each day. What I did when I did this challenge, at the end of the day, I sat down and I thought back on my day and I thought back of something that I was truly grateful for in that day. Even though we have lots of little things, I picked one thing of that day. And I recommend trying to find something different instead of repeating the same thing over and over again. Try and find something different for 50 days at least and see if you can do it. If at all you guys have any questions, concerns, comments, if you have any ideas for next topics, feel free to email me at kardecradioforteens@gmail.com and I'll answer to you guys quickly because I have it hooked up to my phone, so I'll answer back as quickly as I can as soon as I see it. This week, I'd like to start off with a message called Being Ourselves, which is the topic I want to talk about today, about how we should be ourselves and not care as much of what other people think of us, but think about what's good for ourselves. So this message is from the book, The Daily Book of Positive Quotations. It's titled Being Ourselves. The easiest thing in the world to be is you. The most difficult thing is to be what other people want you to be. Don't let them put you in that position. The urge to please is powerful, even when it pushes us to be someone we are not. When we try too hard to please, however, we usually fail to please anyone. Not the person we were aiming to please, and certainly not ourselves. If people can't accept us for who we are, then we have to ask ourselves, why would we want to have a relationship with them to begin with? We should never have to inauthenticate to earn someone's love or respect. I am who I am. While I can always improve, I will not let anyone try to make me what they want to make. This message is the basis of what we'll be talking about today, about how although a lot of people want us to just do what they're doing, to follow along, how it's important to be ourselves and to do what we want and what we like. And it's important that last sentence that was mentioned there, that even though I'm not perfect, I will try and be myself. Because it doesn't mean change is bad. We can change and we can do stuff for the better. And if someone's doing something good, then maybe we should follow their example and lead like that. But not always should we just follow what the other person's doing, just haphazardly and without thinking about it. I know as teenagers can definitely relate to it being hard to be ourselves, because in school there's so much peer pressure and so much emphasis on fitting in and being in the popular crowd. But sometimes it's okay to not fit in or to be in that popular crowd. However, we do have to realize that some of these popular people, they might actually be very nice, and sometimes it's just a stereotype that we think, oh, they're too good, oh, we have to follow what they do. But it's not always like that. I know for one, because I used to do cheerleading, and many people that I met that used to cheer with me, they were very nice and sweethearts, and they were so fun to be around, so intelligent. There are some people that may follow the stereotype kind of cheerleader, but in a way, there's so many people, if you look at them, that are nothing like that stereotype, but everyone just puts that label on you right from the get-go. One thing is that you should never just be in a group or a club because you want to be popular, you want to have that status. It should be because you really enjoy to do that thing. If you like to do drama, then be in the musical and be the leading star. But if you don't like to sing, then maybe you should stick with something else that you like to do. And there's so many things to fit in that it's not just about, oh, what is the popular people doing? What do they like to do? It's whatever you want to do inside of you, what you feel comfortable doing, what you enjoy, what you want to do. Another thing is that you don't have to fit into just one specific group of people who only like one specific thing. Because you can be a star athlete and love to run and you play football, you play soccer, whatever it is that you like to do. But then you also may like to be a part of the student government, or you also like to read and you're in a book club, or you also play an instrument. And those things you can do you can do a lot of them. You don't have to just pick one because it's like stereotypical for a football player only to play football and that's all you can do and you have to be in a group. You should be yourself and express yourself and what you like to do. And if that's many different things, then you should go for it. Everyone always says how trying to fit in and peer pressure and all that stuff is so bad, but to a certain extent, it's okay because of course we want to fit in, not even just to please other people, but to please ourselves. Like girls who like to do lots of makeup, most of the times they just like how it looks on them. They're not trying to please anyone else. And that's okay, but some people may see that as fitting in. But if that's how you express yourself, if that's what you like to do, then you should do it. Or maybe peer pressure, as it's labeled, maybe it's not really that kind of pressuring. Maybe your friends are pressuring you into doing something that's good for you. Maybe they know that you'll be so good running that marathon and they're like, come on, you should do it. And that kind of thing is positive. It's a little positive push that we need sometimes in our lives. But there's also many times where the peer pressure and trying to fit in too much can be negative. The most dramatic part that we always hear about this is when students, sadly, they get into drugs or they start drinking alcohol at a young age. And there's so many things that for young people that it's so easy to slip into because everyone else is doing that isn't good and that can actually be very negative for us. And I'm a teenager just like all of you guys. I know that in school, that even though you're only supposed to drink at 21, I know that in school there's so many people underage drinking, and hopefully you're not friends with any of them, but if you are, maybe you should help that person. And if you are that person, maybe you should think about why are you doing that, because who's making you do that? No one is making you do that except for yourself. And if you do feel like you're being pressured by other people, then maybe you should realize that those people aren't worth hanging out with. They're not worth risking your life for these people who you're just trying to become friends with. Friendship shouldn't be something that you have to buy like that. It should be something natural, and they should like you for who you are when you're yourself, not when you're trying to fit in and be someone else. Let's go to a lesser example. What if everyone's buying this pair of shoes and then you hate them, but you want to fit in? Don't buy them. Just don't buy them. Buy a different shoe that you like, that you truly enjoy, that makes you feel happy that you like them. Because everyone else is buying that shoe, but if you don't like it, then that's fine, and then the people should accept you for who you are, and maybe they'll even like your shoes better than the ones that they're all wearing. At this age, it shouldn't really matter what we're wearing or what we do, what sports we play, what after-school activities, which car we have. None of that should really matter because we're just trying to get an education to become better and to prepare ourselves for our future. And little things like that shouldn't matter. But of course we know that they do matter, and that in high school that happens all the time. It's all around us. The best way to try and fit in is to be yourself. Because when you're yourself, when you're acting yourself, when you're acting natural and how you really feel inside, you'll find other people who are similar to you in those types of ways, who can relate to you, or even if they're not similar to you, they enjoy your type of personality and you enjoy their type of personality, and then even though you may be opposites, it's still a good relationship. It's what you both accept each other for how you are. And when you do this, when you act yourself and you find this group of friends who truly understand you, that's the one you're fitting in. You're fitting in with people who you like, who are like you, and you're truly fitting in without having to pretend you're someone you're not. One song that I highly recommend everyone to listen to, it's called Try by Colbie Caillat, and I think it's really inspiring and it tells you exactly this. And even if you see the music video, it's really a great music video. It's really a great song, and it's talking about how you don't have to try to be someone you're not. When you're yourself, you'll find other people who are just like you and who you can actually relate to on a more personal level. And sometimes these people maybe you won't even see them ever again after you graduate high school, or maybe they even end up going to the same college with you, but maybe after that you just never see them. And then when you do see them again, no one's judging you for what you wore to your 6th grade dance. Everyone forgot about that already. So if you truly just be yourself and express yourself for how you truly are, that's the way that you'll fit in best. Some things that are really important to ask yourself if you're thinking about, well, how do I know who's really my friend, who am I trying too hard? One thing to ask is, what are you going to remember when you're 70? When you're 70, swinging on a little lawn chair on the front porch, what are you going to remember? Are you going to remember about how that one time you wore an ugly sweater that no one liked, but you liked it? You're not gonna remember those little things. You're gonna remember the bigger pictures. You're gonna remember that time you and your friends all had fun. You're gonna remember the fun stuff. You may also remember the not so fun stuff, but it won't be little petite things. All the stuff that we do right now, eventually it's gonna be irrelevant to us. What color car we had, what shoes we wore that day to school. Those little type of stuff won't matter when we're older. Another question to ask ourselves is, who are we going to be with when we're older, when we're 70, when we're sitting there? Who that was in our school is going to be with us still, our friends still talking to us? We definitely can still have friends if it was those sincere friends who, when you were yourself and they were themselves, you truly connected with each other. But it's not going to be those people who you just had to do random stuff, you had to do bad stuff to yourself, like drinking or doing drugs. Or it's not going to be those people where you had to buy the fanciest clothes to fit in, buy the latest Victoria's Secret sweatshirt to fit into whatever it is, wherever it may be. Those people aren't the ones who are going to be there in your life. And you may still have some of those friends who were your true friends, who truly understood you and accepted you for who you were when you were being yourself. But most importantly, when you're old and you're 70 and you're walking around with a cane, the person who you're going to have is yourself. So you should be yourself, and you should express yourself and do what you want now, and not trying to impress anyone else, because in the future, you're only going to be with yourself relatively, but you're only going to be with yourself mostly, and that's who really matters. The stuff we do now, it's going to affect what we do later, what we think about later. Everyone, when they're older, they say, oh, I wish I did this when I was younger, when I had the time, when I shouldn't have been worried about what people were going to say. And I believe it's the truth. Obviously, I haven't been older to know, but I believe it's the truth, because right now we worry about such little things, and then when we're older, we're going to be like, wow, I should have joined that club when I wanted to, or I should have done that sport, I should have tried out, instead of thinking what people would think of me. Imagine in 50 years where you're going to be, and think about who's the only person you're sure will be there, and it'll be yourself. So right now, we should try and do stuff to impress ourselves, to make us feel good, not to make other people feel better about themselves because they made us do a bad thing or a wrong thing, or because they got us to do something bad instead of them doing it themselves, or they got us to buy these pair of shoes that they want everyone to have. What's going to matter is what matters to us, because we're going to be the ones that live out the rest of our lives. And this is what's really sad for some people that fall into the trap of peer pressuring into drugs and alcohol, because then one day all of those friends and all those people that you thought you were so close to, they're going to leave. And you're still going to be left with the drug and alcohol problems. And then that's when you slip even further into a bigger mess. So if we can prevent all of that now, it'll help our future immensely. But there also is one other person, per se, who is going to be with us when we're older. And that's God. So 2 people that we're sure we're gonna have when we're older is ourselves and God. So when we're thinking about everything that we do, trying to impress others, we can think about or how it's gonna affect other people. What we should be thinking about is how is it gonna affect ourselves and how is it gonna affect God? How is God gonna see what we do? So instead of always thinking about trying to fit in with other people or trying to impress other people, we should always remember to be ourselves and to, per se, impress God and to do what He wants us to do, what Jesus taught us to do. Following Jesus' teachings and following what God wants us to do on this earth and for the rest of our lives, that's what's truly going to matter in the long run, not the little stuff that happens now. Of course, we know that this is easier said than done, that us teenagers, obviously there's going to be times where we just wish that we could fit in a little bit more, that we could, even I think as adults, that there's just some times that you're jealous of that person because they have something and you just wish you had that too, or you wish you had that fancy car, or whatever it may be. There's always going to be that time where we feel like that, where we want to fit in. But what's important is to not let it take over. That after we sit down and be like, you know what, it's okay. I realize that I'm okay with the car I have. I like it better than that car anyway. Or we can improve and we're not perfect. And if doing something else, like if you see someone doing something good and you want to be like them, then that's a good thing. That you should try and change that within yourselves to be good. But not necessarily do you always have to follow what another person is doing just because they did it. And even if it's something good that you're trying to copy that a different person did, maybe it's not always the right thing for you. I know for me one time, I tried to volunteer at a dog kennel, a good community service type thing to do. Turns out I was allergic to the dogs and cats, shedding all the time all over the place. So that really didn't work for me. And stuff like that, it doesn't work for certain people. For some people, they may have a blast, they may love the dogs, they may treat them so well and lovingly, and that's perfect for them. But maybe even that good deed isn't that good for someone else to try. I'd like to read you guys a poem that actually someone I know wrote, and it's about, well, you'll see what it's about. It's called You. Many spend time without care, looking for their closest friend, but only one will be there until the very end. Attention it will not seek, love it will not ask for. You are the only one that makes it weak. You are the only one that makes it powerful. It is weak, not by lack of attention of itself, but by what you seek for yourself. Too much time is spent looking for the right one. Too much love is sent, expressed to the wrong one. It is made powerful when comparisons come to an end, when you see everything to be beautiful, as differences start to bend. Now it gets your attention, for it always been there for you. Now you show your affection and find the right person to give it to. In the end, you are, after all, your own best friend. I thought this poem was perfect about what we're talking about because it's saying that you're the person that's going to be there until the very end for yourself. That if everything else goes wrong, which hopefully it doesn't, but if everything else goes wrong, you're still going to have yourself. And so you should try and treat yourself better now and try and do good things for yourself, things that you enjoy, not waste your time just trying to impress others and doing stuff they like, but not what you like. So you should try to do what you like and benefit yourself now because you're the one that you can be sure of will be there for you until the very end. Also, not mentioned in the poem, but of course we can also remember that God will always be there for us till the very end and beyond. And no matter what, God will always stick with us and be with us, even if we do wrong things and it doesn't work out the way we planned. He'll always be there to help us when we ask for it and when we need it. Of course, this is not to say that you should only try and please yourself and God and not talk to anyone else or not do anything with anyone else. That's not it. It's good to have a best friend, a closest friend. When you're truly being yourself and when other people are being themselves, you'll be surprised that you can actually have a lot in common while not trying to impress anyone at all, while being completely natural. And those people that you find when you both can be completely normal and natural and be yourself completely with that person, that's when you know that they're a good friend and that they truly appreciate you and that you return the favor and also appreciate them for who they are. One thing my mom always told me is that you can't have a lot of best friends. You can have one or two close friends, you can have one or two best friends, and those are the closest people that you always talk to, that they accept you for who you truly are when you're being by yourself. And you can also have many friends. You can have many acquaintances, many classmates, many just friends in general who you're kind to, you talk with, but not that they know every single thing. Maybe you don't see eye to eye on some things, but that's normal and that's okay. But your closest friends, you should have one or two closest friends, and then everyone else are just your friends. Not your best friends, but your friends. And that's good to have. Another important part about being yourself is getting to know yourself. Because many people, maybe being themselves, maybe they've been doing what other people wanted so long that they don't even truly know what they like on the inside. It's good to open yourself up to another person or even to yourself to figure out what you truly like or dislike and to do those things, to take action, not just be like, oh, okay, I found out I really like golf. But then be like, oh, I'm not going to join the team because everyone's going to make fun of me. You should find that within yourself, find what you truly like without anyone else's influence, and then go for it. You should act, you should do it, because in the long run, you'll be happy that you did it for yourself. And when you join that golf team, finally, you'll find closest friends who can relate to you because they also like golf. And that will really help you through your life to find people who you can relate to and who enjoy the same things as you, no matter what they are. Having good self-awareness and embracing who you are and being yourself, those will really help you actually to be happier. You'll be surprised how much happier you'll be when you realize that that other people's opinions don't matter as much, and that really in the long run you're trying to please yourself and to please God. And if you're doing those two things, that what other people are saying might not be as important. Of course we want to like other people, to love other people, to help other people, but we can't help other people if we don't help ourselves first. We can't love other people if we don't love ourselves first. We have to open up and to think of ourselves first and realize, what do I love, what do I want to do, and then do that. And once we can love ourselves, then we'll be able to radiate that love onto other people. Another end to being yourself is also respecting others. Because if someone else is trying to be themselves and to show what they truly like or what they dislike, and if they're trying to be themselves and they're doing that, then we need to respect that within that person, and so that they can feel good about themselves and also we can feel good about ourselves. You'd be surprised to know that negative thoughts that we have about other people, sometimes, like, even if we don't say it out loud, even if we just think it, if we're like, oh my god, why are they wearing that? But they like it and they want to wear that and they're just being themselves. When we think those negative thoughts, it's actually impacting us more than it's impacting the other person. It's making our thoughts negative and our personality negative, and it's bringing us down, while the other person, they might not even know that we're thinking that, and they'll be perfectly happy with being themselves and embracing themselves. So really, just having those negative thoughts might not even be affecting the other person, it might just be harming ourselves. I'd like to read a little message now called Judge Not, in the book, the Bible, 50 Ways It Can Change Your Life. Judge not. There's an old saying that goes like this: if you're being chased by a bear, you don't have to be the fastest person in your group. You just have to be faster than one other person. The same mindset lies at the heart of our judgmental tendencies. When we're being judged by others, we reason that we don't have to be better than everyone else. We just have to be better than one other person. So we find someone who seems worse than us and point our fingers. Jesus revealed the faulty reasoning behind that attitude. He said, "Don't condemn others, and God won't condemn you. God will be as hard as you are on others. He will treat you exactly as you treat them." Judging others actually puts us in God's crosshairs. Instead of condemning and looking down on people for their faults, a better alternative is praying for them and asking God to help them recognize their need to change. This is exactly what we were saying about how that people we need to be nice to because we want them to be nice to us, and also we want God to treat us that same way. Because the way we treat others is how we're going to be treated. There's always that saying, treat others as you would want to be treated. And that's the reality, because if we treat other people negatively, then that negative energy is just going to return back to ourselves. So we should treat other people positively and respect them, because then that same respect will be given back to us when we choose to express ourselves and when we can embrace ourselves and to be ourselves around other people. It's not always easy to be ourselves or to keep those negative thoughts away from us. Sometimes we do judge people. We find ourselves in a quick judge. Or sometimes we can't be ourselves. Maybe we're trying to impress someone that we care about, or we're trying to do something good, or you're at a job interview and you're trying to impress so hard that you can't find it in yourself to be yourself. So sometimes it's really hard to be yourself, but the more we try, the more we think about it, the more we go through it in our day-to-day life, the better it will become, and the more fluent and easy it'll be to just be ourselves all the time. And say, for instance, for my personal case, when I first started this radio show, which was only a couple weeks ago, I was really nervous and scared about what I was going to say. And now I'm starting to open up more, and it just flows out of me, and I can just be myself talking more easily. And the more and more practice, the more it's going to get better, and the more fluent it'll be, the easier it'll be. And even though I make mistakes and I stutter on a couple words here and there, the better it'll become, because the more we practice, the easier it'll be. In the long run, we should do what we're happy with and what's going to please God and what will benefit us in our future. It doesn't matter about what type of shoe we have or what backpack we wear or what makeup you put on. You should do what you feel good about. If you really love that red lipstick, then wear it. If you really love those sneakers, then use them. But if you don't, then don't use them, and that's okay. That's part of the process. If you find out what you don't like and you don't get what you don't like, say you don't like those sneakers, so if you don't get them, that's already starting to have self-awareness to realize, no, I don't like those shoes. Even if everyone else likes them, I don't like them. And stuff like that, little by little, it'll become easier to just be yourself all the time around all people. If you guys haven't listened to the song, I highly recommend you go listen to the song I mentioned before, Try by Colbie Caillat, and even watch the music video, because it really has a great message, and it's really a great song, so I think you all should give it a listen. Little by little, try and think about what stuff you like and what stuff you don't like, and start becoming aware of yourself and becoming aware of what you like, and not thinking about what other people like or don't like, but think about what you like and what's going to benefit you and what God wants us to do. And that will help us to start becoming self-aware and to be ourselves, and it'll be so easy that we'll be grateful we did it when we were young instead of when we're 70 sitting on a rocking chair. If you guys have any questions or comments or anything you'd like to say at all, even if it's not about the topic, feel free to email me again at kardecradioforteens@gmail.com.